Hello friends, in this lecture we shall try to find how to crack JIB exam in one attempt. Friends, first of all, the JIB exam rules of Indian Institute of Banking and Finance, which they announced for the year 2017. First of all, what will be qualifying criteria for this exam? So who will be declared successful? The minimum pass marks will be 50 in each of 3 papers. So there are 3 papers. In each of 3 papers, a candidate will be expected to score at least 50 marks. If a candidate is appearing in all the papers in single attempt and his aggregate score is at least 150 in 3 papers, and in any individual paper his score is at least 45, in that case also he will be declared successful. So whenever in a single attempt a candidate is appearing in 3 papers simultaneously, his aggregate score should be 150 and minimum score in each paper should be 45. So in these two situations, a candidate will be declared successful. Credit in past subject can be retained till expiry of time limit for passing the exam. So there is a time limit to pass the exam. If a candidate is pass in 1 or 2 papers, he can retain the credit which can be included for final result, but this facility is available only till expiry of time limit for passing the exam. Now what is time limit for passing this exam? 4 consecutive attempts. So 4 attempts, one after another, and these 4 attempts will be counted in 2 blocks of 2 attempts each. That means a candidate will be having 2 years, and in these 2 years he can have 4 consecutive attempts. So there will be a block of 2 attempts in 1 year. Re-enrollment will be mandatory if not qualified in 2 years. So if a candidate is unable to qualify in this block of 2 years, then he has to re-enroll himself. So in that case, this credit which we have talked about here, so that credit will not be available. The time limit of 2 years, it begins from date of application for first block. So there are 2 blocks, and this 2 years time period starts from the date of application for first block. Attempts will be counted irrespective of whether the candidate appears in the exam or not. So once this time limit starts, then whether the candidate appears in the exam or not, the attempt will be counted. The initial fee for block of 1 year for 2 attempts is rupees 2400, and similarly, if in these 2 attempts the candidate does not qualify, then fee of rupees 2400 for next block of 1 year will have to be paid. So this is regarding fee. Now pattern and duration of the exam. Friends, the duration of this exam is 2 hours and it is online mode exam. it is not in that physical format, it is online. The total marks are 100 and number of questions to be asked is approximately 120, and these are multi-option questions. There is no negative marking. Since there is no negative marking, the candidate is well advised that no question should be left as unmarked. So each question should be marked. It is possible if a candidate is in a position to mark all questions, so he may be scoring some marks for those questions also which he has marked, and these are correct. Types of questions. There will be two types of questions: single issue multi-option questions. So there will be one issue, and based on that one issue there will be one question. And another will be multi-issue multi-option questions. So we call it case studies or caselets. So there will be two type of questions. On one issue there will be one question. On multi-issues related to one topic, there can be a number of multiple option questions. Class of passing. If a candidate scores 60% or more marks, then he will be treated as having passed in first class. And if a candidate is able to score minimum 75% marks, so 75% or more, then he will be treated as having passed with distinction. So first class with a distinction. Now papers. As I said earlier, there are three papers. So first paper is Principles and Practice of Banking. There are 4 modules, and these modules cover Indian financial system, functions of banks, banking technology, and support services and marketing of banking products. These 4 modules further are segregated into number of individual topics. The second paper is Accounting and Finance for Bankers. This paper also has 4 modules which cover business mathematics and finance, principle of bookkeeping and accountancy, then final accounts and banking operations. So those candidates which are having commerce background, it is much easier for them to have a good score out of this. But those candidates which do not have commerce background academically, they have to put little more extra effort. The third paper is Legal and Regulatory Aspects of Banking. So here also there are 4 modules which cover regulations and compliance, legal aspect of banking operations, banking related law, and commercial law with reference to banking operations. A candidate is supposed to do balanced preparation without focusing on a particular module within the particular paper. So the preparation should be spread over all the modules, because our goal is to pass this exam in one attempt. Hence, the focus should be on a balanced preparation. Now focus during preparation. When a candidate is preparing, the focus should be on conceptual clarity. And conceptual clarity comes when descriptive study material is studied properly. And there should be practice of these concepts by practicing on multi-option questions and case-let questions. So the focus of preparation or the procedure for preparation should be, first, we should be clear about the concepts, about the terms given in the descriptive study material. Then we should practice on those concepts, and this practice can be by way of solving multi-option questions or caselets. Here we shall see an example. So how we can prepare. There is a question. In a rural bank branch, a daily laborer approaches to open a saving bank account, but he does not have any officially valid documents, OVD. What will you do? Since this is multi-option single issue question, we have the following options. Option A, will not open the account. Option B, will open the account but operations will be allowed on production of officially valid documents. Option 3, will open the account and only credit and no debit. And option 4, none of the above. Now, if we understand the concept relating to KYC rules, so this is a question relating to KYC rules in respect of those persons who do not have officially valid documents. According to KYC rules, if a person is not having OVD, then he can be allowed to open small deposit account. And in that case, there are certain restrictions. So total credit cannot be more than 50,000, cannot be more than 1 lakh in a financial year. Maximum balance cannot be more than 50,000 and monthly withdrawal cannot be more than rupees 10,000. So account can be opened, but it is a specific account. It is normal, not normal saving bank account. Hence, none of the above should be our answer, because there is no option that it will be an account styled as small account. So what is the answer? So this is the answer. And what type of conceptual clarity is required? So the conceptual clarity relates to rules relating to small deposit accounts. Let us see another example. A mail transfer is received on June 15 by International Bank from its correspondent bank in New York for US dollars 10,000 to be paid to saving bank customer of the bank in India. The correspondent bank has credited the international bank's nostro account for an equal amount. So here is a question. The international bank is in India. It receives a mail transfer from its correspondent bank in New York. The correspondent bank has told this international bank in India that it has credited US dollars 10,000 in New York, and international bank in India has to credit a saving bank account of a customer. Now, calculate the exchange rate and amount to be credited, assuming that. So here we are supposed to calculate the exchange rate and amount to be credited. and this is interbank spot rate, and this is the exchange margin which bank requires. Rounding is to be done in nearest rupees. Now, what type of conceptual clarity is required here? What type of rule we must understand before answering this question? So it is simple question of calculating the exchange rate. First of all, here this is interbank spot rate. This is buying rate of international bank, and this is selling rate for international bank. In this case, the international bank is receiving the foreign currency. Hence, buying rate shall be used. And bank has to retain exchange margin. So exchange margin amount shall be reduced out of this buying rate. Now let us see the calculation. So interbank rate to be applied the TT buying rate, that means this one. So this is 42.2500. So it has to be written in 4 decimal points. Less exchange margin at 0.08% on rate of this. So this is the exchange margin we have calculated. And finally, this is the rate which bank shall apply. So 1 minus 2, it will give this. Unless we understand which rate is to be used and how exchange margin is to be treated, exchange margin will always be reduced from the rate in case of purchase, and exchange margin will always be added when there is a sale of foreign currency. Had it been sale of foreign currency, then this rate would have been used and this amount would have been added to that. So this conceptual clarity is required. Now finally, this is the total amount which will be credited to customer's account. Unless we are clear about the rules, the concepts, it will be difficult to have really good score and pass JIB exam in one attempt. And this is relevant for all the 3 papers. Now friends, what type of study support is required? So study kits and practice kits. Study kits of Indian Institute of Banking and Finance, they provide good subject knowledge. But the practice exercise are not adequately given in these books. So hence the students find it difficult to understand the matter and practice adequately. For practice, the students, the candidates have to depend on outside support. And here our role also comes in. How we can assist you? Friends, to help you in your attempt, we have simple and easily understandable text formatted descriptive study material, and this is available in hard copy as well as in soft copy. So we have prepared simple and easily understandable text formatted descriptive study material on the basis of the syllabus provided by IIBF. And along with this descriptive material, we have multiple option questions with explanation. So this also is available in hard copy and soft copy. This is available for single multiple questions also, and it is for caselets also. So case study questions, and all these multiple questions and case study questions, these are with explanations. Not only this, we also provide audio video lecture support. So we have prepared audio video lectures explaining all the concepts. Well friends, in case you want to see demo video, you can simply log in our website bankingindiaupdate.com, or you can log in our YouTube channel. So this is the address of our YouTube channel. I'm sure friends, you will be benefited by the contents of this video. Thank you for watching.